Numbers don't lie. And when it comes to Russell Westbrook, the numbers say he is the GOAT point guard.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Hear me out. Or, better yet, hear the numbers out. Among point guards, he's recorded 25,351 points, which is second all-time. 8,365 rebounds, also second all-time, 9,546 assists, 8th of all-time, 377 blocks, 3rd all-time, and 1,867 steals, which makes him 8th of all-time. But is that all? Nope. Okay.
Westbrook played 32 minutes off the bench, messed around and dropped his 200th career triple-double, finishing with 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 14 assists. Westbrook is the first player in league history with 200 triple-doubles, accomplishing the feat in 1,175 games. Joker is the closest current active player. Joker's in 4th place all time with 136 triple-doubles in 685 games.
I'm sorry about
By metric, it would make Westbrook the best or the greatest point guard of all time.
I get it. Numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the full story either. So here, let's talk about the full story, why statistically, Russ is the greatest point guard of all time. NBA narratives and debates about who's the GOAT and who's not have always depended on two things. First, rings, and second, stats. And then everything else comes later. Russ does not have the rings yet, but it's kind of suspect that whenever we're talking about Westbrook, we suddenly don't care about the stats at all. This guy has been to the All-Star game 9 times, and not just to hang out. He snagged the MVP trophy from those games twice. Then, you've got his 2017 MVP season where he was averaging a triple-double like it was nothing. And maybe that's the problem. He made averaging triple-doubles look like nothing.
This is where you have to give it credit. It wasn't done. It wasn't done since the 70s, 60s.
Oscar was the 60s, I believe.
Since the 60s. You're telling me all the greats that came through that were trying, you don't think Jordan was thinking about trying it, or anybody who had the capability, Magic, when he was doing it? Like, J. Kidd, like, he had an engine that allowed him to do it. And the problem with it was, it reminds me of James White in the dunk contest. It looked so easy, they didn't know how to grade it.
Yeah, what you talking about, the McDonald's one?
All of them. Every time I looked in the dunk contest,
they was giving him like a 9 in there, and it's like
motherfucker jumping from the free throw line like this, 50. He coming out of this, yeah.
2 hands.
45.
40.
Like, wait, what?
Between the legs, free throw line.
38. Like, come on, dog. Like, it's just, and that's what it is. He made the triple-double look so easy that they said, anybody can just do it. All you got to do is just patch your stats. You just got to go in there and just rebound. And just go rebound and pass the ball. Like, if it was that fucking easy, why everybody did?
But then again, Russell's not just a one-trick pony either. Westbrook has been the NBA scoring champion in 2015 and 2017. And when he's not scoring, he's dishing out assists, leading the league in 2018, 2019, and 2021. But where does he stand in the all-time all-player rankings? Well, he's 23rd in points, 69th in rebounds, and 9th in assists. Oh, and don't forget his defensive side, sitting pretty at 17th in steals. And before you dismiss all these, remember that it's about historical significance. After all, we don't do that when we talk about Jordan or LeBron. Now, remember that Westbrook's the only player to win the scoring title, MVP, and average a triple-double in one season. He's also had stretches where he averaged 40 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists over 5 games. These are feats that very few can ever do, but Russ takes it even further, doing things only he can. I mean, he is the only player to have at least 100 points, 30 rebounds, and 30 assists through his team's first 3 games of a season. Now, before you say it's all stat padding, remember when everyone was hoping LeBron could pad such stats?
You remember when LeBron was tapping into it? They was making the point that, 28-7-7, 28-8-7, and the idea of LeBron can be the first one to do it became a thing. And then when a guy who you guys don't look at as a natural scorer did it, He's padding stats.
But the question remains, what are we to do with all these stats with no rings? Where exactly does he rank amongst the greatest point guards? It's easier to rate Westbrook's fashion sense than rating where he stands in the point guard debate. But let's not ever forget that beyond the numbers, Westbrook is really fun to watch whether he's in his element or not. Either way, you can rest assured that if more players played like him, the NBA's views won't be this low. But all that aside, rating Westbrook is almost impossible. So much so, we're starting to sound like Confucius asking the question, can a player be both overrated and underrated at the same time?
It's a fascinating question. And I think the answer is yes, because Russell Westbrook exists. And Russell Westbrook, I think, is at once the most overrated and underrated player I can ever remember. People try to diminish the things that he does, like crazy. People love to diminish Russell Westbrook's accomplishments.
Well, to be honest, it's quite easy to diminish Russ's achievements since he doesn't have a ring. But then again, and probably for the first time ever, people actually underrate Westbrook's accomplishments because of his personality.
He became kind of the villain through some stuff. KD was so beloved. If you take yourself back in time to when those two guys were on OKC together, KD's image now is vastly different than it was then. Bear in mind, that was at a time when KD was the MVP. He said his mom was the real MVP, crying at the press conference. You remember he used to wear that backpack to the press conferences when OKC went to the finals that year? I mean, KD was beloved. And Russell Westbrook was beliked and generally thought to be the guy who didn't let KD shoot enough, who just wasn't willing to let KD be the guy as much as KD should have been the guy. I think that's where it all started with Russell, and he also just doesn't have that kind of embrace me personality.
And now, he's proving he can still ball at Denver. So with the personality issues aside, why is it so hard for people to even consider Russ as at least a top 5 point guard of all time? After all, as McCants pointed out, the GOAT PG debates used to involve just double-doubles before Westbrook happened.
Seeing that the double-double, points and assists, Chris Paul, John Stockton, right, is the one thing that was pretty much valued as much as anything from the point guard position. How many double-doubles can you get? Can you average a double-double?
Yeah.
Right? But Westbrook averaged a triple-double at the point guard position.
Yeah.
So he did that how many times? 3?
What?
4.
He averaged triple-double?
4.
4 times he averaged a triple-double.
4 times.
At the point guard
Average.
position.
Average.
Now we talking about the double-double being the metric
Yeah.
of highest from a point
Great
guard.
point.
So how can Westbrook not be all the way up here at 200
Average
triple-double?
With a 30-point triple-double.
None of y'all can reach him. None of y'all. Magic, all y'all, you can't come back to get more triple-doubles than him. You can't come back and make it look better than him. He made it look so easy that we just stopped looking at it.
But even with all these facts, there remains an ongoing debate about how Russ's numbers should be interpreted. And what better way to do that than to consider his impact and style of play through his highs and lows. Westbrook's career has been one heck of a roller coaster ride. First off is Westbrook's energy. Since he got to Denver, Mike Malone hasn't stopped talking about it.
I thought the bench, especially Russell Westbrook, his energy, his passion, his edge, it can be contagious.
He always brings the fire, pushing his teammates and leading by example. Then there's his athleticism. Westbrook in his prime, man, the highlight reels are insane. He's flying, snatching balls out of thin air, and dunking on folks like they're not even there. His athletic prowess was not just for show. It was a weapon on both ends of the court. And it's also what helped him become such a production machine.
So when you're looking at how Westbrook creates, not with his structure, but with his athleticism and his speed, and he gets down court, he can get the easy man open. That attributes to his IQ level. He doesn't need the structure to get the assists. He can still get 10 assists a game. He can still get 10 rebounds a game.
But then again, it wasn't just points, assists, and rebounds that Russ was producing. He was also producing lowlights. His shot selection and efficiency, oh boy. Sometimes, especially when he was with the Lakers, there were lots of times when Westbrook's shot selection had you scratching your head. And those turnovers, they could drive a coach to early retirement or make a retired Magic lose his cool.
I was very disappointed in Russell Westbrook. That was the worst point guard in a championship finals I've ever seen. He was too wild. He was taking off-balance shots. You got to come out and set the tone with Kevin Durant. See what type of defense Miami was going to play against him, JB. Then you can always get off, Russell. Russell Westbrook's got to set the tone with Kevin Durant.
So do we define Russell Westbrook's greatness by the lowlights or the highlights? Obviously, it should be the two because that's what makes a complete player. But what you cannot do is deny Russ's ability and athleticism or the stats that resulted from them. Also, you cannot make a top 5 greatest PGs of all time list that excludes Russell Westbrook because statistically, which is a numbers game, he's better than everybody else. And if you're talking about rings, you can't have the likes of Chris Paul or John Stockton on there either. But do you agree with all this? Let's continue the debate in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this video, you see why Nikola Jokic wanted Russell Westbrook next.